I told the kids today, there's a lot of cap on the app. Believe that about these apps. There's a lot of cap on the app. Don't let this what you see create a false God for you. You know what I mean? Because a lot of y'all are copying. You don't know what's behind that.
Yeah.
So when I tell people, a lot of people in this city respect me. What's up, bro? They instead of asking me, they have this idea of who I am.
Mhm.
And I think maybe that's why I'm sharing more. I don't want that on me.
Yeah.
Let me share with you the real, for you can get it, or somebody else can get it. And I was telling on the show, on the BSO and the Black Super Friends, I said when people, I got a bag, empty, and I'm telling you, I'm going through all of that. I was in a depression and didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Didn't even know it, bro.
Yeah.
Didn't even know it. And I made a lot of decisions and did some things that I regret now, but I got to live with. That's what a man do. You know what I mean? But those images
Mm.
that people are chasing, I say, man, I pray to people that, like I say, be real with yourself. Like at the end of the day, that mirror you got to give yourself a straightening in, and that's why I champion having this conversation. I was like, produce. Just when I want to walk away from the show that I produce, like Black Super, I want to walk away from. I've been burnt out. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, no. And now he's asking me to do more. I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm burnt out. And I got to do more. And you tell your story. I'm telling. Like on this thing, I've been telling you about. Hey, I went through depression.
Yeah.
I had triggers,
Yeah.
and if that's going to free somebody else, man, I'm all for it because I didn't. I was looking for that, because I always see, and this is not calling out any past. I always see people preach on one thing. They're there, but how did you get there? What that blueprint? What that roadmap? And I just know those images will kill you and lay you out. Why do we struggle with that in our community so much?
I think that it goes back. It probably supersedes slave days, right? One thing is that we were taught to hate ourselves. We were taught to hate the color of black altogether, right? We were taught to hate our skin color. We were taught to hate another brother. This goes back to plantation days and maybe even before. And because uh, uh, white or something like that was taught as superior, it's been a generational curse upon our entire culture. We look for other things outside of ourselves to become better, not understanding that God already placed greatness on the inside of you. He said, before I formed you, he said, I knew you, right? In your mother's womb. And the issue is, if God had his hand on your life, if God called you to this earth, you are already anointed to be great. The thing about it is, I have to get my mind right so that I understand that God has called me to be great, because most of our warfare, it's in our mind. And so what the enemy does is he doesn't just want to change what you think about. He wants to change how you process it. And if he can affect the way that if he can affect the way that you process, the way that you think, this is when a wrong mindset can cause burdens to become blessing, or blessings to become burdens. And all the time, if we didn't have the perfect person in our home to show us, you know what, this is my hero, not the person on the TV, then we're always looking on the outside of who we are to be great or better. Somebody else is always better than us according to our minds, not knowing that God created a lane in a space just for you so that you can be great in your own right. It may not be to talk to 100,000 people. It may not be to shoot a basketball. It may not be to catch a football, or to rush for 100 yards, or to throw for 1,000 or 4,000 yards. You may not be the next Tom Brady or Warren Moon, or you may not be the next Michael Jordan. But what did God anoint you to be in your own right? And so the issue is, we look on the outside rather than looking on the inside of who God created us to be in anyways. That's our biggest issue.
Man, you know what's amazing about this? This conversation flows. Every time I get with you, bro, we literally can go anywhere and probably have a conversation for hours.
Yes.
And yeah, and I said that because when I was growing up, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a fighter pilot. When I was in high school, I thought I was going to make it to the NFL, and play like at least a season or two. That way I can make enough money to pay off my house, and then I ain't gonna have to work no more.
Yeah.
I never seen myself in those streets. I never imagined me in politics.
Yeah.
I never even imagined me doing what I'm doing now. And I do a lot. Mm-hmm. But I look back in retrospect, like my ego really had me believing I was making stuff happen. You know what I mean? Growing up in Revere, I can tell you some close calls where, bro, I probably should have been dead, but I thought it's my quick thinking, got me out of that situation, in politics. Like, I really thought I made it happen. When I got that bad, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna plan, this the plan, and I get this, I'm gonna do that. And one day, boy, God slapped me silly, like, bro, like when you get those, I can't explain that moment when the blinders come off and you see life. You're like, boy, I was so foolish, bro. Like, yeah, man.
I was blind, but now I see, right? Amazing.
So let me ask you the last question, man. I remember you, before I met you, I heard everybody talk about this cat named Lovett. You was a running back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me, bro. I was like, I seen you one day, and I was like, that joke in high school, So the way they talked about you, I really thought you was gonna make it to the league,
I didn't.
So like we all. But let me ask you something, bro. I see you got you dress fly, whether it's church or whether it's fashion gear. You're an everyday dude. You're a pastor, you're a doctor, but you're an everyday dude. Like, there's somebody I can say to my son, like, hey, that's a good dude. Where were you in life? Or what was your pivot? That's my final question. Where were you in life when you seen that pivot? Like, these things start ushering you in to where you're at now. You start to see, okay, God maybe want to use me for a higher calling, or I'm seeing that I have a gift to lead people and pray for people, intercede. What was that moment?
Let me go way back. And, like you said, my year, I was blessed to have a great line at Suncoast, but I was also pretty decent and athletic in who I was. So yeah, we had a real good team. Our Suncoast team at that year was one of the last playoff teams in Suncoast thus far, 98. You know what I'm saying? This is before Devin Hester. But we were one of the last playoff teams. And so, yeah, I thought, me and my crew, me and my best friends, we all thought one way or the other, we were all going to make it some way. And you couldn't tell us anything different. I was fast in the 40. I knew how to break tackles. I knew how to shake people. I knew how to do my thing. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought that I was going to make it. But watch this, you know what I mean? I ended up having my son the end of my senior year, getting ready to go to college. And his mother's pregnancy actually got my mind a little bit away from football. So I wasn't applying myself to go to bigger schools. I was trying to stay close to home. Bigger schools, I went to the Miami camp, University of Miami camp, killed it. One of the best athletes down there. Running back coach took me into his office, introduced me to a pro running back then who was a city of Miami standout. His name was Troy Davis. He ran for back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons at Iowa State. He brought him in and let me meet him personally. But the issue was I didn't have a blueprint, right, on my attitude. Or how to operate in the presence of other people. And so down there at that camp, I didn't know that, I was being tested by away from Palm Beach County players, great players, and being placed with a bunch of non-athletic people from Clearwater. And so I was like Keyshawn Johnson, just pass me the ball. You know what I'm saying? And when they didn't, I was having an attitude and a fit. And at the end of the camp, long story short, Miami coach came to me and said, "We like you. We love you. We think you're a great athlete." He said, but right, if anything we can tell you is you need to work on your attitude. My senior year, University of Maryland, they sent down a scout. He was actually a referee on the field. So I did have those type of things and those type of accolades. But somehow, some way, I had my son going into my freshman year. So I went to smaller schools to try to stay close, but somewhere I lost the love for the game. And when I came back home during the summer, knowing that I was going to go back, I ended up meeting my current wife now. And when I met my wife, I never went back to school. She was a girlfriend at the time. I asked her to marry me a couple years later, and we got married 5 years after that. And so, yeah, we're 20 plus years, right? All together, 23 all together, right? 18 married. Here's the thing about it. We went through our thing. I didn't have anybody to teach me how to be a man. And it took me virtually almost losing my daughter and my wife for me to say, Lord, if you bring them back, I'll sell out. I'll give you all of me. And somehow, some way, my wife introduced me to a pastor and asked if I would go to some counseling. And that's when I really dove into the church from there. And I remember having a conversation with that pastor and saying, man, why couldn't I make it to the league? And I remember that pastor speaking to me prophetically saying, it's not that you weren't good enough. He said, but did you ever think that that wasn't for you? Meaning, look at all those guys who are out there living explicit lifestyles, right? Doing the things that they do. God had a call on you from the day that you were born. And of course, I'm thinking, well, Lord, you should have, I'm like you, let me be and just make a couple 100,000, pay off a house or two, come on back and do my thing. I'm like you, right? But God had other plans for me. And because the greatest thing in my life at the moment was my family, I was willing to say, Lord, if you can use anybody, use me. And so it took me almost losing the greatest thing in my life for me to say, I'm yours, Lord. And from there, God changed my life forever. So I was submitted to a pastor for 7 or 8 years, was with him for quite some time. And the Lord, all that time, my wife's great uncle wanted me to pastor his church. And we thought that we were going to take it over, but they were a very traditional church and we were non-traditional. And we ended up not doing it. And that's when the Rock International started in 2012, Easter 2012. And that's how I knew God had his hand on my life.
Bro, I'm speechless. I am. Because, like, we all know your name, we see you. And those, like I said, man, these conversations, man, I want people to be able to really appreciate it and absorb. You know, people don't have to, but most people are private. You know, when I went into music, bro, I swear to God, people think music is everything. I think because I grew up in church so much that it scared the heck HEL out of me. The stuff I seen, I was like, bro, I'll call them home, like, bro, you know, it's that industry, man, between the sex, the drugs, and other spirits over there, bro. It really took me to a place. But I applaud you for that because you don't hear men, well, I ain't gonna say men enough say, yeah, I got this wrong. I almost lost this. And you see me say, I did lose it. You know, I want you to learn from it, bro. Like, keep that ego to the side. This is real life stuff. These are men because we didn't have a blueprint. If I had a blueprint, bro, I swear to God, I think I would be appreciative. You know, and second of all, the person that was trying to help me, was sent to help me, I was such in a place of brokenness, like it was resentment, like, please, you know, but you live and you learn, man.
Absolutely. That's the
Yeah.
be forever learning, man. You never get to a place where you feel like you got it all or that you know it all. No, I tell people, regardless of my degrees, and I have several of them, they're earned degrees, not honorary degrees. I tell people, regardless of where I'm at with that, I'm always learning. I'm never to a place where I feel like I know it all. And once you stay in that place, God can continue to use.
Thank you, man. Listen, I'm in a place where I'm humbled to have a conversation today, but I'm humble as a person, bro. I swear, for the first time in my life, I'm just so grateful, so humble. Like, I kind of just like, I want to be the best person I can be. You know, I've made a lot of mistakes in life, and I definitely been making a real effort to, make sure my kids are good, make sure if I leave this earth that the gifts that God has given me, that I'm using them. I used to have a lot of fear. I'm overthinking. Like I can do this, and or having somebody talk me out of it. Now, anything I think of, I do it. Shows, boom, writing, boom. I'm traveling. So between the courage and just being humble, that's where I'm at, man. So thank
Awesome
you for
for having us.
entertaining me.
Body.
Entertaining me with your conversation, man. Because like I say, bro, you a real impactful guy, and I don't have a problem telling another brother like, bro, you really have a gift, and I appreciate your friendship, man.
Thank you so much, man. And likewise, they say if you can count the number of real friends you have on one hand, you're a blessed person. And, I'm just glad and fortunate to have you as one of those, man. I really am. Keep doing what you're doing. Let me say that, man. Keep striving to make change in the community, amongst your sons, amongst our young people. Keep letting God have you right where He wants you. You know what I'm saying? And so you keep going in that space. You keep being impactful because you are impactful. You are the man. You say D Horace, right? When you say that name, ain't nobody in the city who don't know that name. You know what I'm saying? We want to say thank you for having us, man, and we are humbled and honored just to be in your presence. Real open conversation, and hopefully this gives somebody else's another opinion that pastors are not supposed to just be in this particular religious box that people put people in. Jesus wasn't religious; he was relational, and people don't understand that. He went against the religious sect. That was the issue with Jesus. That's why they wanted to crucify him. So it takes a great eye to recognize greatness. And so, man, I just want to say to you, man, I recognize greatness in you, and I thank you for allowing us this platform to be with you today. Be blessed.
All right. Hey, before we go, man, tell them where they can find you because I catch them on IG and I share your messages. But you're in Palm Beach County. And tell them about the church. Tell them where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. I senior pastor of the Rock International Church. Started in my beloved city, but ended up moving out. I am in the city of West Palm Beach. We are at 901 North Point Parkway, Suite 306 and 307 in West Palm Beach. That's off of 45th Street. Our social media is the Rock International Church. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. My personal information is Jamie and Lovett on Facebook. I am Jay Lovett on Instagram. Those are my handles.
What time church start on Sundays?
Sharp at 9 a.m. and not 9:01, not 9:02. We believe in being on time for the Lord. We start sharp at